Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Tom Chaney, and this is Living Health Live. Joining me on the show, as well as in my life and in our practice, Living Health Integrative Medicine, this is my wife, Dr. Steph Chaney. We are your trusted source for the latest information to help you get and stay healthy naturally. We're super excited to be joining you and taking you on this adventure of a lifetime, your lifetime of great health. We want to get you healthy. We want to keep you healthy. And we're going to provide the information, strategies, and all the latest research on how you can live better and a healthier life. Just remember that this information is intended as educational information only. Information given here is designed to help you make better informed decisions about your health, not intended to be a substitute for medical treatment. So, on today's episode, we've got a hot topic. It's this weight loss drug called Ozempic. We're going to talk about Ozempic free weight loss. So, we're going to talk about what is Ozempic and why can it be so bad? What are the other names for this drug? And then we're going to talk about some alternatives and go through some of the latest tools for healthy weight loss. So, Dr. Steph, go ahead and why don't you tell us, like, what is the deal with this drug? It's actually it's a peptide, right?
Yeah, it's becoming a health nightmare uh, to the point of class action lawsuits. So this is an important thing because there's many names for it, and it's a drug with a peptide, but it's a peptide that is just sort of indiscriminately prescribed to people for type 2 diabetes, but also off label for weight loss. So it's an injectable medication. Originally, it was used to treat type 2 diabetes. It's what's called a glucagon-like peptide 1. So it's a GLP-1 receptor agonist, which means that it mimics the natural hormone produced by the body that helps regulate blood sugar and appetite. So it's an appetite suppressant drug. So if you're eating less, the idea is that your sugars will go down, right?
Right.
So the mechanism of how it works is it slows the movement of food through the stomach. So it keeps your stomach full longer. So you don't eat as much and you don't eat as often. Reduces hunger. It increases the feeling of being full. It increases your insulin secretion and reduces glucagon secretion, which is what's used to pull sugar out of storage into the blood. And so, therefore, it can help lower blood sugar levels. It's actually, people don't realize this, it's a venom peptide. It's a peptide synthesized from venom toxin, from snake venom.
Really?
Yeah. So that's just a fun little side sidebar on this drug. It is FDA approved for type 2 diabetes, to improve blood sugar control. And the idea is to reduce the major adverse cardiovascular events, such as heart attack, stroke, or death. But you're going to see how it actually may be triggering it in some people with these class action lawsuits. And then off label, it's very trendy for weight loss and obesity. And I cannot tell you how many patients are getting recommended this or something similar to it for weight loss, and it's just like no big deal. And it has been a medical nightmare for several of our patients. So this
Most,
is why I'm compelled to do this podcast today.
yeah. What I've seen with patients coming in when I talk to them about their history, a lot of them have been to medical weight loss clinics, and this is typically what they're being recommended.
Right. The other name for it is semaglutide. But a lot of our patients that we work with, because we've been in the space of diabetes reversal now for 20 plus years. And this is a medication or a form of it similar to this. I'll get into the multiple names of this drug or similar like drugs. The diabetics are put on it and they don't even realize what the side effects are. And you know, it's been showing up as a big problem for some of our type 2 diabetics who are just innocently taking this, not even for weight loss, but just because that's what the newest, latest, greatest drug is. Metformin's got problems, right? Like, it's probably the safest drug to take, but it's got long term consequences like neuropathy and worsening and, all of these things. Uh, but I'd rather have my patients on metformin than Ozempic and some of the comparables because the long-term ramifications and what we're seeing with patients is it's kind of nightmarish. So uh no bueno. It's a super big trend in the celebrity Hollywood sphere. Everybody's on this weight loss Ozempic type thing. Oprah did a whole documentary on how awesome it was because she's got to justify why she's taking it, and that's how she's lost weight. Um, tons of it's interesting because Kelly Clarkson lost a bunch of weight on it. But if you go into, I know that Kelly Clarkson talks about having Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition. And I do not recommend people with thyroid issues be put on this particular medication. So, is there a health benefit to losing weight? Yes. But the ramifications of how this prompts weight loss and what it does as downstream effects is really dangerous and really scary, and kind of a nightmare. And the results are not permanent. You have to basically stay on this drug for the rest of your life if you want to keep these results, which is not good, not healthy. So let's talk about like what is happening with these people.
So these are documented dangers
These
of
are
using.
documented dangers. Just go Google it. They'll come up. It's like, you know, it's out there. There's class action lawsuits. It's out there. I will, as I go through this list, talk about what I've seen in the practice. So, thyroid tumors and cancer. This is actually a warning. It's like a black box warning, I think now, but they're obligated to warn about this. But so thyroid tumors, including cancer, patients may experience symptoms such as lump or swelling in the neck, hoarseness, trouble swallowing, shortness of breath. Um, so anyone with a thyroid issue or inflammation of the thyroid, I would steer clear of this because it could potentially stimulate that inflammation to end up resulting in cancer. Um, Pancreatitis, good gracious. So you're a diabetic, and then they're going to put you on something that's going to actually cause inflammation to the pancreas. And anything that causes the itis can eventually lead to cancer too. So that's a scary thing. So it can lead to severe abdominal pain that may not go away with or without vomiting. That's fun. So that's been something that we experience with some of our patients. I had a patient on the oral form of Ozempic for diabetes. It's called Rybelsus. And she was, she came in with diabetes and she had neuropathy, and we were doing protocols, and she'd been working with us for quite a while and had generally been doing okay, but the neuropathy was still there and it didn't quite match with her hemoglobin A1C. Like her diabetes was not as bad enough to have this neuropathy. And then she started complaining that she just wasn't able to digest meat very well. So she stopped eating meat. And then she was feeling full and bloated all the time. And then months would go by, and then she was having like a green color to her urine. And then she was having episodes of vomiting. And it was turning into like almost a daily vomiting occurrence. Like she said, I'd be sitting on the couch and after dinner, and all of a sudden I'd like break out into that sweat, and my husband would grab the garbage can. They're watching TV, and she'd like just basically be puking every night.
Wow.
And so I was like referring her back to get upper GI, and she had a colonoscopy, and we're thinking well, something's wrong with her gallbladder, whatever, pancreas, nothing, everything's showing normal. Nobody can figure anything out. Finally, I'm like, I'm auditing your medications list. So we go through her medications list, and she's on Rybelsus, and Rybelsus is basically oral Ozempic, and oral Ozempic will cause pancreatitis, but it also causes gastrointestinal slowing and issues related to basically almost like paralyzing, creating a neuropathy of your entire GI tract, essentially. So the gastrointestinal issues, nausea, stomach pain, constipation. I've had a patient that did this for weight loss. Sometimes they're doing this at a weight loss clinic and they're not telling us that they're doing these injections, right? I said, I didn't know this patient was doing these injections. She's on our diet nutrition protocols. She's pooping once every like 7 to 9 days
Wow.
and losing weight. So I'm like, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what's happening, but that cannot be good. basically you're not eliminating waste. If you're not eliminating waste, you're going to be in trouble. So her main complaint obviously was constipation. It didn't matter. Like she wasn't responding to anything we were trying to get her to respond to. Like there's no reason why that should have been happening with what she was doing in our office. And then it finally came out that she was wrapping up a 12 weekly injection series with this medication. And I was like, what? Well, that's why you aren't pooping. Um, and this is a person who was very susceptible to SIRS biotoxin issues and not pooping out toxins. And so lots of inflammatory stuff related to that ended up causing problems that became neurologic and brain issues. But gastroparesis is the technical term for paralysis of the stomach, and it can be permanent. And this was what my diabetic on Rybelsus, I figured was probably having. So I sent her back to her prescribing doctor with this particular term and said, this needs to be ruled in or out, and you need to probably be taken off this medication. And immediately she was taken off medication. Took about 3 months to run through her system. She's still having some gut issues, but she's not spontaneously vomiting anymore. Can you imagine like that's your life? Bowel obstructions can happen. Obviously, if you're not pooping, stuff is building up and it's just like, bulging out into your, so you can actually have perforation where your gut just basically tears and then you could die if you're not, got to the hospital right away because you can't have all that toxic stuff in the system. You'll die of sepsis, or bowel obstruction to the point where some people have what's called necrosis, or like the colon itself actually dies and they have to remove chunks of people's colon. Some
Mm.
people are now permanently on a colostomy bag. Um, and so that's crazy. The other thing that is really alarming for me, which for a long-term solution for diabetes or weight loss is just not going to be feasible, and that's muscle loss. If you have such part of what you're doing is you're starving yourself to death, right? So if you're not able to maintain muscle and your body's having to now like feed off of muscle to essentially like maintain brain function, you're going to atrophy. That is a recipe for osteoporosis. That is also a recipe later for worsening of the diabetes. So it's very interesting because these patients that are on Ozempic for diabetes, Rybelsus, and the list I'll show you of like all the different terms of these different types of peptide medications. These are people that are eventually on like 5 medications and their hemoglobin A1C is like 8, 9, 10. Like it gets to the point where it's not controllable anymore because you've atrophied your muscle to the point where you have nowhere to even put your sugar. Like your sugar should go into your muscle. That's the ideal place for it.
Right.
So, and then you'll get, there's terms for crazy things like Ozempic phase, right? Where
Hmm.
people lose the weight so dramatically that all of a sudden they're just like sagging and gone. I'm like, you're losing muscle, you're losing fat so fast that your skin can't keep up. And so
Lose their glutes,
I've
lose
seen
their
people
butt.
lose their bum. They lose
Yeah.
their bum. That's the biggest muscle in the body. You do not want to lose your butt. And man, these guys will have butts that are flat as pancakes. I remember when all of this was just kind of starting up for weight loss. Um, and I think it was Kelly Osbourne was like doing a presentation at some award ceremony. And hadn't, she sticks in. Okay, fine. She turns around to walk off the stage and she's got like absolutely no butt. I'm like, she's on Ozempic.
Mm.
It's Ozempic butt. That is not, you got to have money in the bank for retirement as far as muscle mass for bone density. People that have depleted muscle stores as they age are more prone to dying from pneumonia, getting chronic infections, because that's a protein storage for your immune system. Um, Bone density, it's just like all of it. And it's kind of a nightmare. And so over time, whatever short term positives they may have gotten, it's actually going to actually make it worse. And then if you stop the medication, it's a rebound effect. So everybody gains their weight back. And they may have permanent metabolic and neurologic damage and then gain weight and get fat afterwards anyways, right? So you got to be on this stuff forever. And right now, Ozempic and these weight loss peptides for weight loss, it's cash out of pocket. So you're going to have to be on this probably ongoing. But people are getting on it just to lose like 10, 20 pounds. Like it was originally, I think, intended for really severely obese patients that had issues. But I'm seeing patients that have had the stomach surgery, the gastric surgery for obesity, that have diabetes that are also being put on this. I'm like, so you're already going to have absorption problems from your surgery. And now you get put on this medication that's going to be causing circulation problems. Um, so the other thing too, and this is the unknown long-term impacts. I have questions about colon cancer. Like, okay, let's say 5 years, 10 years of being on this and you're not moving and you're not having a bowel movement every day and you've just got toxic waste sludge, you're going to be probably more likely to get cancers, not just thyroid, but I would assume colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, if you're prone to pancreatitis, but also blindness and clots. That's what's in the class action lawsuit. So there are ongoing, active, right now lawsuits against the makers of Ozempic. Individuals are filing Ozempic lawsuits claiming that the drug semaglutide can lead to severe gastroparesis, ileus, which is the issues with the intestines, like we talked about, intestinal blockages, and other gastrointestinal issues. Um, and then the other thing that I wanted you to see, this was on the same website with this particular law group. With increased use of the drug, concern has risen that prolonged use may lead to serious GI injuries and other long-term issues. What they're finding is stomach paralysis, bowel blockages, blindness and vision problems, and blood clot, deep vein thrombosis, and or pulmonary embolism. So now we've got cardiovascular issues that they were supposedly supposed to be preventing by using this drug, which is ridiculous.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about other names for this.
Okay, this is important because this could be like a patient may not even realize what they're on, that they're on this peptide, and they may want to look at possibly getting off because it could be contributing to all of their other secondary symptoms, neuropathy, bowel issues, whatever. And ultimately, these other secondary symptoms will make the diabetes worse. So, semaglutide is the other name. That's usually how it's termed, just for for the weight loss people. Rybelsus is the oral form of semaglutide. Ozempic is an injectable, so it's a weekly injectable. Um, and then there's Victoza, Trulicity, which is also a weekly injectable, similar type, Mounjaro. So Trulicity and Mounjaro work in a very similar way to Ozempic. And then Wegovy and Zepbound. So these are all just different names. So the patient's appetite will go down. So they're going to be eating less. Their metabolism gets completely wrecked by this. Their bowels become, and part of what we're trying to do to get a diabetic case reversed is, or even like good weight loss, is getting their bowels moving so we can get toxins out and get inflammation out. And so those are some of the names. These will sound very familiar to a lot of diabetics that are possibly on this. So I would encourage everybody listening to just audit your medication lists. Our diabetics come in, they're often on sometimes 10 different prescriptions. Audit it and look at the side effects and have a conversation with your doctor about whether or not you want to even be on that. Because right now we are working very closely with these patients and their prescribers to be weaned off these medications and get their systems back and hopefully not have permanent paralysis and damage to the system.
So, what are some things that we could do instead of taking this medication?
Yeah. So here's the other thing that, especially for weight loss, like you're not really fixing anything if you're not doing anything other than taking these for weight loss purposes without changing your diet, doing things to lower inflammation, get rid of toxins. We just, you've got to do things um, that, that will give you some permanent, healthy, long lasting results versus just this kind of short term fix. So we've got our Living Health Reboot program. This is an easy 28 day detox program. We've got sauna, so sweating is very helpful for getting toxins out. So we've got something here called a Hocket, which is a great thing if someone doesn't have a sauna at home. So infrared, steam sauna type thing. IV therapy, if you do the right type of IVs the right way, with the right ingredients, then it can be very supportive for the system, like getting the right nutrients to support metabolism, get metabolism running better, better utilization of fat and sugar for fuel, building muscle, better muscle recovery. But of course, you're going to be doing this in addition to exercise, right? Like you need to be moving and building muscle and things like that. Periodic fasting, there's lots of different ways to fast, intermittent fasting. So just eating all your day's calories in a shorter period of time, allowing the system to flush out. There's also like lemonade fasting that we talked about. When we do the reboot in that we talk about the different types of fasting that someone could be doing periodically, just 3 days a month if you've got a weight loss target, or 5 days a quarter, or doing the 21-day detox with some fasting in between is an easy thing to do if weight loss is a target for you. You have to address toxins and eliminating toxins and daily support of eliminate. It's important for your body to be able to get rid of toxins daily. And we already have a problem of toxic overload. And we have people that are genetically susceptible to having a hard time actually pooping toxins out, even if they are pooping every day. And if you're on a medication like Ozempic and not pooping, but every 9 days, that is a recipe for long-term problems. And then addressing sources of inflammation. Inflammation is what caused sugars to go up and insulin resistance to go up and things like that. And then, of course, there may be hormone issues that we want to be looking at as well. So you want to actually fix the underlying why, right? And not just literally paralyze your GI tract to handle it. There's even herbs that we sell, like our Crave Curb, that people can take that will naturally support the chemicals, the nerve chemicals, the neurotransmitters in the body to help naturally lower the feeling of hunger, making you feel more full, have less cravings, things like that. There's natural ways of doing that that do not impact how often you poop in a bad way, right? Um, this is the thing with toxins, like, we just don't realize in the last 50 to 100 years, like, what we are doing to the body. And the body will get fat and hold specific fat to the detriment of muscle. Like, a person could gain weight and lose muscle mass, but they're stuffing fat cells. And why does the body do this? Because the body's trying to put something that it can't get rid of in a storage form almost to save the brain and nerve system. Like it's a compensatory thing that the body's trying to do. If you can't eliminate toxins through urine, sweat, breathing out, and pooping, then you will start to store. And some of it is hormonal imbalances related to the toxins, the plastics, and industrial compounds, and pesticides, and insecticides, and herbicides. Have you noticed how few bugs are around? We were just talking about this the other day. Like, we used to drive in the summer, and like you couldn't get very far without like as wind chills really bugs fly.
Right.
That doesn't happen anymore. And once again, to don't mind the leaf blower. Genetic modification. So we've got that happening with different foods, different plant systems. Us with vaccines, we're being genetically modified. Synthetic medications, like we talked about. So even the list of drugs that people are taking could be contributing, and cosmetic or topical toxins are just crazy as far as that goes. Biotoxins, we've done complete lectures on SIRS, chronic inflammatory response. Biotoxins are toxins from living things. Technically, Ozempic, you could say, is like a biotoxin if it comes from the venom of a snake. But mold, fungus, yeast, insect bites, tick venom, bacteria, parasites. We've got patients that are loaded with parasites, living in a moldy house, all this other stuff's going on, and they're just not able to eliminate waste um, the same as everybody else. You can get these toxins in through ingesting them, inhaling them, getting injected or bit by something. They're everywhere, right? So, so much exposure to toxins. And you will not be able to lose weight if you've got imbalances in your intestinal biome, right? So if you've got an imbalance in the bacteria and probiotics, if you've got overgrowth of these fungus or parasites, that will cause a problem. Lack of fiber. Fiber is important. I don't think it's as important as they have said in the past. But definitely, getting some good fiber in there to feed the good bacteria. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies, so much deficiency in nutrients, which is why our IZ protocols are so helpful for people. Food intolerances, inflammation. So if you've got immune reactions to certain foods you're eating, even if they're not sugary based, that can cause inflammation, which can cause your sugars to go high, and it can cause storage of toxins and fats. Dehydration. If you're dehydrated, you're not going to poop, the cheapest and easiest thing to try to handle. And then sluggish gallbladder. So gallbladder issues because of toxic overload, lack of enzymes, not enough acid in the stomach. There's a whole litany of things that people are just metabolically jacked up, and then they just go on this Ozempic type protocol, and they haven't fixed these things. So now they're going to be even sicker on top of what was already going on underneath the hood.
So we got to make some dietary changes. So there's some fundamental pillars that we have to get in, right? If we want to lose weight, we want to get healthier, we got to get the right diet in place, right? Nutrition changes. So got to drink water. We talked about dehydration. So the rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces per day.
Yep. And these are dietary changes that we have to have our diabetics make even when they come in on all these medications, like whether it's Rybelsus or Trulicity, like their goal is to get off those meds. Well, then these are the changes that have to be made. So regardless, they have to be made. You can't just live on semi-glutides for the rest of your life and eat crap. It's just not going to happen, right?
Right.
So you need to eliminate as much processed and junk food as possible. And there's a lot of stuff out there that's considered healthy that may not even be healthy because of how it's processed, right? With inflammatory oils and the wrong kinds of sugars.
Lots
You
of
want to,
healthy junk food, right?
yeah, there's lots of healthy junk food, especially the gluten-free stuff. You want to reduce and eliminate added sugar, replace the processed foods with as much real food. So, healthy protein sources, wild caught fish, and free range, grass fed, grass finished meats. These are super healthy. Cooking with healthy fats like lard and grass fed butter, coconut oil, and staying away from like the seed oils and the canola oils and soybean oil. Like soy oil contributes to weight gain and like like all kinds of crazy hormone imbalances that
Mhm.
screw up your fatty balance. You want to start consuming lower inflammatory foods. You want to be mindful of getting enough sleep and rest and recovery. Like that's another thing. People are not sleeping well either, and then they're up all night. And if they're up all night, they're also usually eating because they're kind of getting a second, third wind. And then avoid known toxins. So don't be over consuming alcohol. You cannot get away with a half a case of beer every night or a case of beer on the weekends or whatever it is. Cigarettes are creating low oxygen, inflammation, lots of toxins. There's so many toxins in and eating not organic foods. They're just plastics are another known toxin. So we've kind of already talked about that, but even stuff that's like wrapped in plastic, you don't want to microwave your stuff in plastic. You don't want to cook with aluminum foil directly contacting food because these are toxic metals, and all these toxins contribute to issues related to gaining weight.
So let's talk about using a comprehensive science-based detox program. So that's a great way to get lasting results, and you're actually learning how to live a healthier life.
Yeah, the goal isn't to like drop 50 pounds in 3 months and then not know how to keep it that way. Right.
Right.
Um, and it's not about dropping weight, it's about losing fat and gaining muscle. And that's part of the problem with the Ozempic story is people are just losing their muscle, right?
Right.
So they're just like becoming walking dead essentially. So one of the things that is part of our protocol, it's been very effective for so many patients, is our Reboot program, and something that you can sign up on. There, the link to that, we'll post it, but it's on mybodysite.com/Dr. Dr. Thomas Chaney /Dr. Dr. S/body/reboot/program. That's a mouthful.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll put the
we'll put
link
the
in the
link there.
description.
But our online body reboot program, it's a self-directed 4-week protocol. You get a kit sent to you with meal shakes, support capsules for detoxification. And then there's online webinars. I do a weekly webinar of support and things to think about, like talking about different types of fasting and the food protocol and the schedule and all the good things that go into making some permanent lifestyle changes. And then we've got tons of resources there as well for different exercise ideas and tips and things like that. So it's a really great program for basically like a 30-day cycle. The kits you can buy just directly from us. So after you've done a reboot and you've got all that data and access to all that stuff, you can just like get a kit anytime that you need to. And you can do like a 1 week paleo detox just to kind of give yourself a break and flush out. But that's a great way to get kind of refocused back on track. And so many patients just doing this for 3 to 4 weeks will lose 20 pounds, like 15, 20 pounds pretty easily. And so then you gotta work, keep it off, right? Or keep it going. So the body reboot program's great. It's 21-day detox kit, really easy to follow, instructions, webinars, support, things like that. And the biggest thing, like I don't even really like promote this for weight loss. It just so happens that it happens, but um more to get toxins out and get inflammation down, right? So that's kind of really what we originated it for. But that's that. The other thing is it's some of our patients just need to start sweating their garbage out. Like if you have not been pooping because you've been on Ozempic and that stuff's still in your system, or you're having constipation issues, regardless of if you're just, taking my magnesium or water and things like that, we're gonna have to get stuff out of you. So sweating is so helpful. Um, and it's not to lose water, it's to get toxins out. So you have to replace water that you're losing through sweat. So obviously, we encourage major hydration when you're doing this. Um, but this is a device that is a pod that you sit in our office, and it delivers like 10 different treatments all in one 30-minute pod session, including high heat, like sauna. So you're going to be sweating, ozone, infrared, all kinds of good stuff. There's settings in there where we can help inactivate viruses, bacteria, yeast, stimulates the immune system, speeds healing and recovery, helps flush out and clear out arteries and veins. So it's improving circulation, which is what we need to get the stuff out, oxidizes toxin and removes free radicals, normalizes hormone and enzyme production, reduces inflammation, reduces pain, calms your nerves, improves brain function. And of course, in doing all these things, it will help with weight loss because if you're getting your metabolism back normalized and supported and your system supported, you'll get toxins out. So this awesome pod device, it's a great little session. It delivers ozone, PEMF, which is pulse electromagnetic frequency, which is good for people that have pain also. Oxygen therapy, ultrasonic cavitation. It's got far infrared light, aromatherapy. It's got light therapy in it. We're getting your temperature, your core temperature is coming up very, very high, but you will not overheat because your head is out of it. Kind of a problem that I have in going full on in a sauna. I just overheat so fast because my little head gets really hot. Uh, Electrotherapy to have different frequency settings for different types of conditions, and then carbon dioxide therapy as well, which actually opens up your pores, so we're able to get toxins out faster. All of this is crammed into like 1 30-minute session. And we recommend that patients are doing this minimally weekly if their target is to lose weight, ideally even 2 to 3 times a week. So that would be a strong recommendation for that.
And I've seen, just going back to one of the benefits of the Hocket, is it decreases inflammation. So I've seen inflammatory markers that were 4 times higher than where they should be. I've seen them come back into normal range just after we did 6 weeks. So twice a week for 6 weeks. So 12 visits.
And those are the metabolic things like C-reactive protein, right? And
Right.
like lipid levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. And it's if you have been not mobile or having joint issues and it's been a problem preventing you from exercising to help lose weight, then this is a great way to kind of get that metabolic rate up and sweat without exercising, like initially, so we can get you to that point where you're physically able to. Um, our IV protocols, we've got a wonderful suite of IV protocols now, specifically geared towards improving metabolism, healing, and for weight loss. So we've got it's a combination of an IV and an intramuscular injection done on the same day. And you would do this weekly while you're targeting for certain weight loss goals. This is something we're recommending people do with a Hocket, not at the same time, obviously. But while they're doing Hocket sessions in whatever period of time, they would also be doing the vitamin IVs for nutritive restoration. A lot of our Ozempic people have been nutrient deficient for so long because just not absorbing food. And we've got so much muscle to rebuild. And so we do that. And then also the Reboot system to help again reset and clear as far as that goes. But the IV is designed to help burn fat and boost metabolism. And this particular IV cocktail we've put together helps harness the benefit of the B vitamins to raise energy levels, support healthy metabolism. We talked a lot about the B vitamins in chronic fatigue when we've done our chronic fatigue webinars and podcasts. So it will help convert fat into energy. So you're going to be mobilizing your fat now, getting it out of storage, and then enhance athletic performance. We want people now starting to exercise to build muscle, and this will help you actually grow and hold and retain muscle. Improves your overall mood. The B vitamins are great for that, and boosts your metabolism. So rate at which you're burning your calories. Then there's an intramuscular injection that we do on the same day, which also has specific B vitamins in it. It's a real easy, like very hardly invasive little intramuscular injection. It's kind of like getting a B12 shot.
Right.
But this has methionine, B6, inositol, choline, and L-carnitine. And this helps all boost metabolism and burn fat. So you're getting an IV, so you're getting nutrients into the blood. You're getting intramuscular, delivering certain nutrients intramuscular that we're not able to deliver through an IV. And all of those things will work to help restore a good high metabolic rate, which is what we want. So tying it all together, we've basically created like the ultimate, like, 30 to, what's 3 months? What's that?
90 days.
90 days. So
Yeah.
30 to 90 days, depending on how frequently you're able to do these protocols. But 12 weekly Hocket sessions minimally, 12 weekly weight loss IV and intramuscular treatments, and then the Reboot program. That would be like the mega ultimate natural way. And the beautiful thing is that you don't have to keep doing these forever and ever at this intensity to keep results, but you do have to maintain a good, healthy food plan and active lifestyle, which you're going to learn on the Reboot. Or just buying one of our books, like just implement our diabetes tips, even if you're not diabetic, like just get our diabetes reversal book. And there's like 33 different things to implement. Just go through that checklist, right? Um, but this would be like the ultimate program. If you're trying to lose 30 to 50 or more pounds, this would be the way to do it. And it's going to be the healthy way to do it. Going to feed your system, feed your brain, feed your nervous system, get your metabolism going, keep you pooping, get toxins out, but rebuilding the system. Um, that super package thing that we've put together, basically, when you do it, you'll get 30% off when you do it as like a huge package of whatever the retail rate is for all the individual, IV sessions or Hawkins sessions or whatever. And all you have to do is schedule for a functional medicine consult with us to get cleared for basically jumping in. Now, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not in our state and you're out of state, then you could just go do the Reboot program and we can help try to find you a place close by you and your state that may do comparable IVs. There are offices all over the states that are doing these IVs. But if you're here locally in Maryland, then this would be the thing to do. If you're already a current patient or you have like 10 or 15 or 20 pounds to lose, you may not need like this big, huge protocol, then just still come in for a functional medicine and we'll just create a tailored protocol for you that, is either fewer numbers of sessions, so just smaller packages, or we just determine based on your needs at that time, looking at everything, refreshing your case to see what would be the ideal thing. But anybody can just go on our website, our body site, and get into the Reboot program, start that right away. You can do that now before you even find these other places that do this. We are probably the only office in Maryland that does hot kit sauna. And it's amazing. And patients do very well with that protocol. And then the IVs are just awesome too. We've just got a great little IV room, got amazing staff. It's always fun back there when patients are doing their IVs.
All right. So we'll put all those links in the description below. Our website is mylivinghealth.com. So that's one way to connect with us and get more information. Also, if you wanted to email us, info@mylivinghealth.com. And then the office number is 410-216-9180. So you've been listening to Living Health Live. That wraps up today's episode. I hope you got some great information and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a
Bye,
great day.
guys.